500 words. How Idi Amin killed Kenya's minister Bruce McKenzie. Introduction. The 1970s were among the most volatile decades in East Africa's political history. While nations such as Kenya sought stability under President Jomo Kenyatta, neighboring Uganda was descending into chaos under the brutal dictatorship of Idi Amin. Amid this regional turbulence, the assassination of Bruce McKenzie, a South African-born Kenyan minister and intelligence operative, stands out as one of the most shocking acts of cross-border political violence in Africa. His death, caused by a bomb concealed in a gift from Idi Amin in 1978, revealed the extremes to which the Ugandan dictator would go to avenge perceived betrayals. This essay explores the background, motivations, method, and aftermath of the assassination, situating it within the broader context of Amin's reign of terror and East Africa's Cold War entanglements. Idi Amin's rise in the climate of fear. Idi Amin rose to power in January 1971 through a military coup that ousted President Milton Obote. A former soldier in the King's African Rifles, Amin had built a reputation for ruthlessness and physical prowess. His ascent was welcomed by many Ugandans at first, as he promised to restore order and stability. However, the early optimism soon evaporated as his regime turned into one of the most brutal dictatorships of the 20th century. Historians estimate that between 300,000 and 500,000 Ugandans were killed during Amin's 8-year rule. Victims included political opponents, religious leaders, intellectuals, military officers, and ordinary citizens accused of disloyalty. Fear became the defining feature of Ugandan life. Bodies floated in the River Nile, mass executions became routine, and entire ethnic groups were persecuted. Amin cultivated a contradictory image. To the public, he projected himself as a populist, often seen eating in local markets, joking in Swahili, and presenting himself as the last king of Scotland. Internationally, he oscillated between alliances, courting both Western and Eastern blocs during the Cold War, as well as Arab states opposed to Israel. Behind the humor and theatrics lay a paranoid leader who believed betrayal lurked at every corner. Anyone associated with foreign powers risked elimination. This climate of fear extended beyond Uganda's borders. Amin's volatile foreign policy, combined with his willingness to kill, created deep unease among neighboring states. Kenya, in particular, became a target of his hostility after the 1976 Israeli raid on Entebbe Airport, an event in which Bruce McKenzie played a critical role. The Spy Minister. Bruce Roy McKenzie's life embodied the intersections of politics, intelligence, and diplomacy in post-colonial Africa. Born in South Africa in 1919, he served as a Royal Air Force pilot during World War II, gaining valuable experience and forging military connections that would shape his later career. After the war, he moved to Kenya, where he became deeply involved in the colony's agricultural development and political life. Mackenzie's political ascent was rapid. He became Kenya's Minister of Agriculture under President Jomo Kenyatta, playing a key role in shaping the nation's policies during the early years of independence. Yet McKenzie was not simply a politician. Behind the scenes, he was connected with multiple intelligence agencies, including Britain's MI6, Israel's Mossad, and the CIA. His intelligence work often aligned with Kenya's national interests. McKenzie helped strengthen ties between Kenya and Israel, a relationship that would prove critical in 1976. He was also known for his ability to maneuver discreetly between competing interests, a skill that made him both valuable and dangerous in the volatile politics of East Africa. For Amin, McKenzie symbolized the foreign infiltration and betrayal he feared most. Operation Entebbe and Amin's humiliation. The event that sealed McKenzie's fate was the daring Israeli rescue mission at Entebbe Airport in July 1976. After Palestinian and German hijackers diverted an Air France plane to Uganda, Amin publicly welcomed the terrorists and posed as a mediator. The hostages, many of them Israeli, were held at Entebbe Airport under the protection of Ugandan troops. Israel responded with one of the most audacious rescue missions in modern history. Israeli commandos flew into Entebbe under cover of night, stormed the terminal, and rescued nearly all the hostages. The operation humiliated Amin, exposing his complicity with terrorists and undermining his image as a regional power broker. Kenya played a crucial but largely hidden role in the success of the operation. Israeli planes were allowed to refuel in Nairobi, and Kenya provided logistical support that made the mission feasible. Bruce McKenzie was instrumental in arranging this support. His ties with Mossad and his position within Kenyatta's government enabled him to act discreetly yet decisively. For Amin, this was a betrayal of the highest order. He believed McKenzie had not only conspired with Israel, but had personally enabled the operation that embarrassed him before the world. Amin's obsession with revenge grew, and McKenzie became a marked man. The plot to kill McKenzie. In early 1978, Bruce McKenzie traveled to Uganda for discussions with Amin. To outside observers, the visit seemed routine, part of the delicate balancing act of regional diplomacy. To Amin, it was an opportunity to exact revenge. At their final meeting, Amin presented McKenzie with a farewell gift, a mounted animal head. The gift appeared as a gesture of goodwill, but in reality, it was a carefully crafted murder weapon. Hidden inside was a bomb. McKenzie accepted the gift unsuspectingly. As his light aircraft departed from Entebbe Airport, the bomb detonated midair. The explosion tore the plane apart, killing McKenzie instantly. Witnesses described seeing the wreckage scattered across the ground, leaving no survivors. The assassination bore all the hallmarks of Amin's brutality: deception, spectacle, and calculated symbolism. A token of friendship had been transformed into an instrument of death. Bob Assels, Amin's British advisor, later confirmed that the dictator had personally ordered the killing and chosen the method. To Amin, the murder was both revenge for Entebbe and a warning to other leaders who might defy him. The shock in Kenya and beyond. Mackenzie's assassination sent shockwaves through Kenya. President Jomo Kenyatta and his government were horrified. They quickly realized the killing was no accident, but a deliberate political assassination. For Kenya, it was a chilling reminder that Amin's reach extended beyond Uganda's borders. The killing also alarmed the international community. Israel mourned McKenzie, recognizing the critical role he had played in supporting their rescue operation. In his honor, the Israelis planted a forest, a lasting tribute to his contribution to their survival. Western governments condemned Amin, while African leaders debated how to respond to the growing threat posed by Uganda's dictator. Inside Uganda, Amin was triumphant. According to Bob Assels, Amin openly boasted about eliminating McKenzie. He saw the assassination as a personal triumph, proof that he could strike fear into his enemies. Yet this act of cross-border violence further isolated Uganda. Amin had already alienated much of the international community. Now he had antagonized a powerful neighbor. The downfall of Idi Amin. The murder of Bruce McKenzie occurred just a year before Amin's downfall. By 1978, Uganda was unraveling. Economic collapse, internal dissent, and growing regional hostility weakened Amin's grip on power. In late 1978, his invasion of Tanzania backfired, leading to a full-scale war. By April 1979, Tanzanian forces and Ugandan exiles captured Kampala, ending Amin's regime. Mackenzie's assassination did not directly cause Amin's fall, but it symbolized the recklessness and paranoia that defined his rule. His willingness to kill foreign leaders showed that he had lost all restraint. For Kenya, it underscored the urgent need to protect itself against Amin's aggression. For the world, it highlighted the danger of allowing dictators to act unchecked. The assassination of Bruce McKenzie remains one of the most infamous political murders in Africa's modern history. It revealed the deadly intersection of intelligence, diplomacy, and personal vendetta in East Africa during the Cold War. For Kenya, Mackenzie's death was both a tragedy and a lesson. It demonstrated the risks faced by leaders who engaged in covert operations and highlighted the vulnerability of even powerful ministers to cross-border violence. For Israel, it was the loss of a trusted ally whose quiet support had been critical during the Entebbe crisis. For Amin, the assassination was a moment of triumph that ultimately contributed to his isolation. Rather than intimidating his enemies, it solidified his reputation as a reckless and dangerous tyrant. His eventual downfall was hastened by the very paranoia and violence that defined his rule. Today, the story of Bruce McKenzie's assassination serves as a warning about the dangers of dictatorship and the fragility of regional stability. It reminds us how personal vendettas can escalate into acts of international violence and how the ambitions of one man can alter the fate of nations. Conclusion. The death of Bruce McKenzie in 1978 was not merely the assassination of a Kenyan minister, it was a statement by Idi Amin to the world. It encapsulated the brutality, paranoia, and unpredictability of his regime. A farewell gift became a bomb, a symbol of friendship turned into an instrument of death. The killing shocked Kenya, angered Israel, and isolated Uganda further. In the end, Mackenzie's murder was one of many atrocities that defined Amin's reign. But it stood out because it reached across borders, targeting a foreign leader in cold blood. It remains a dark chapter in African history, a reminder of how fear and vengeance can drive leaders to